The conference room on the 42nd floor glowed with the last light of evening. The city below reduced to a scattering of distant stars behind walls of glass. Celeste Hawthorne sat alone at the long mahogany table, a chessboard laid out before her like a private battlefield. The world outside hummed with traffic and ambition, but inside the room there was only silence, broken by the faint click of her fingers adjusting a bishop card from ivory. Chess was the one indulgence she allowed herself after hours. No assistants, no board members, no investors demanding forecasts. Just 64 squares and the calm certainty that every move, good or bad, was hers alone. A soft knock broke her concentration. "Come in," she said without looking up. The door opened quietly. A tall man in navy blue coveralls pushed a cleaning cart into the room, his movements practiced and unobtrusive. He moved with the ease of someone used to being ignored, wiping surfaces, emptying bins, existing on the margins of other people's importance. Celeste continued studying the board, but she felt it before she saw it. The subtle shift in the air when his attention fixed on something unexpected. She glanced up and caught him looking at the chess position with unmistakable focus. For reasons she would later struggle to understand. Loneliness, arrogance, or perhaps boredom. She smiled, a sharp, impulsive smirk that didn't quite belong to her. "Do you play?" she asked. The janitor hesitated, then nodded once. On a reckless impulse that felt thrilling and dangerous all at once, Celeste leaned back in her chair and said, "Tell you what, beat me in chess and I'll marry you." The words echoed in the room, absurd and final. The man stopped pushing the cart. He straightened slowly and looked directly at her. His eyes were an unusual gray-green, steady and unamused. "My name is Liam," he said calmly, "and I play for real." Something in his tone, quiet, grounded, utterly without bravado, sent an unexpected shiver through her. Celeste Hawthorne had ruled her corner of the business world for over a decade. She had taken her late father's modest consulting firm and, through sheer will and razor-sharp intellect, transformed it into a multinational powerhouse. At 35, she commanded boardrooms with the same precision she once used to dismantle competitors. Respect, success, wealth, she had all of it, all except love. Love, she had learned, was a liability. Relationships either collapsed beneath the weight of her ambition or dissolved into resentment. Men wanted to dominate her or be dominated by her, and she had grown weary of both dynamics long ago. The chess set before her was one of the few personal objects she kept in her office. Ebony and ivory, each piece carved by hand. It had belonged to her father. She'd learned the game sitting beside him as a child, before illness hollowed him out and left her alone with an empire she never asked for but refused to lose. Chess was purity, logic without politics, strategy without sentiment. Liam Carter's world was nothing like hers. At 39, he moved through corporate towers unseen, his labor noticed only when something wasn't clean. His broad shoulders carried more than a mop and vacuum. They carried responsibility, grief, and the quiet determination of a man who had already given up everything once. The chess world had known his name years ago. A prodigy, a teenager who dismantled opponents with elegance and ruthlessness in equal measure. But that was before Sarah died, before 8-year-old Emma's asthma attacks began stealing her breath in the night, before genius became meaningless compared to survival. Now he cleaned offices for $12 an hour. The job came with health insurance and predictability, things trophies could never provide. Emma was the center of his universe. Bright, curious, fragile. Her asthma had worsened over the past year, each attack a reminder of how close disaster always hovered. Their apartment was small but warm, filled with her drawings and the quiet anxiety of a father determined not to let his fear show. The chess set on their kitchen table was mostly decoration now. Liam sometimes traced the pieces absent-mindedly, memories flickering across his mind like old photographs. Back in the conference room, Liam approached the table slowly, studying position with the intensity of a surgeon reading an X-ray. "You're playing the Queen's Gambit," he said, sitting down uninvited. "Declined. Classical variation. You favor control over chaos." Celeste stiffened. The accuracy of his assessment unsettled her. "You know your way around a board," she said coolly. "I don't lose often. Liam replied with a small smile. Neither do I. Then we should reset, he said, already reaching for the pieces. What followed was unlike any game Celeste had ever played. Liam's moves flowed with effortless precision. He played classical lines infused with creativity, revealing threats only when it was too late to stop them. By move 10, Celeste knew she was in trouble. By move 15, she was defending desperately. Her confidence evaporated as the strategy unfolded with terrifying clarity. Check, he said softly. She countered. Check. Her palms were damp now. She hadn't felt this exposed since her first major board presentation 15 years earlier. The final blow came swiftly. Checkmate. 21 moves. The position was devastating in its elegance. Her king trapped, no escape possible. Celeste tipped the ivory king onto its side. You hustled me, she said, her voice brittle. I never said I was unskilled, Liam replied evenly. You assumed. The words stung because they were true. Where did you learn to play like that? She asked quietly. I had good teachers, he said, before other things mattered more. Then he stood, pushed his cart toward the door, and left. The room felt emptier after he was gone. For the rest of the week, she couldn't stop thinking about him. A routine background check, an excuse she barely believed herself, revealed the truth. USCF rating, 2,437. A prodigy, an international master by 16. A career abandoned after tragedy. The death certificate hit hardest. Sarah Elizabeth Carter, breast cancer, age 29. Celeste stared at tournament photos of the young man he once was, brilliant and fearless, and felt the weight of her own assumptions settle heavily on her chest. She had conquered markets. He had sacrificed greatness for love, and she had underestimated him. The next morning, she planned to apologize. Fate had other plans. In the parking garage that evening, panic echoed through concrete as Liam knelt beside Emma, her lips tinged blue, her breath shallow and desperate. Celeste didn't hesitate. I need an ambulance immediately, she said into her phone, her voice commanding. Authorize a helipad if necessary. The hospital blurred into a haze of machines and fear. Emma stabilized. Liam thanked her with a look that said everything words could not. From that night on, their lives began to intertwine. Coffee breaks turned into conversations. Conversations turned into connection. Celeste softened. Liam felt seen. Emma noticed first. But happiness rarely goes unnoticed, and it rarely goes unchallenged. The closeness that grew between them felt natural, almost inevitable, like a well-played game unfolding exactly as it should. Celeste found herself seeking out moments that placed her near Liam without admitting, even to herself, that she was doing so on purpose. She lingered in the lobby during his afternoon rounds, pretending to review documents while listening for the soft roll of his cart. Liam, in turn, seemed to find reasons to clean the executive floors more often, their brief conversations stretching longer each time. The changes in Celeste did not go unnoticed. Her assistant was the first to comment on it, cautiously mentioning that she seemed lighter. Senior partners noticed she smiled more, listened more, calculated less. The iron control that had once defined her was still there, but something warmer now existed beneath it, like a hearth built inside stone walls. For Liam, the change was even more profound. For years he had lived unseen, his intellect dismissed along with his uniform. Celeste asked questions, real ones, about Emma, about chess, about his work. She spoke to him as an equal, and that simple respect felt like stepping into sunlight after a long winter. Emma sensed it too. She asked about Daddy's friend from work, the elegant woman who had helped at the hospital and somehow made her father smile in a way he hadn't in years. Children, Celeste learned, were far more perceptive than adults gave them credit for. Soon, the three of them were spending time together beyond glass towers and hospital corridors. Saturdays at the park. Casual dinners where Celeste watched the effortless bond between father and daughter with quiet wonder. Movie nights in Liam's modest apartment, complete with negotiations over bedtime and popcorn portions. Celeste discovered she liked being there. Liked Emma's curiosity, her unfiltered honesty, her laughter. Emma, in turn, adored Celeste, The woman who dressed like royalty but spoke like a friend, who knew about boardrooms and balance sheets, but still remembered what it felt like to be 8 years old and full of questions. For the first time in years, Celeste felt something growing that wasn't tied to profit or strategy. And then the video surfaced. It appeared on the company's internal social platform on a Tuesday morning. Grainy footage filmed through the conference room glass. Celeste's voice reckless and teasing. Her offer, Liam's calm reply. 90 seconds that erased context and amplified humiliation. The caption spread like wildfire. By noon, half the company had seen it. By afternoon, HR was overwhelmed. By evening, her phone would not stop ringing. The comments were worse than the video. Mockery, speculation, classist jokes, accusations that reduced Liam to a gold digger and Celeste to an executive caricature who had lost control. Board members called. Partners hinted. Reporters circled. Her Uncle Richard, chairman of the board, did not bother to soften his words. "This makes you look reckless," he said coldly. "It damages the company." By the time Celeste confronted Liam in the service elevator that night, fear had hardened into anger. "Did you know?" she demanded. "Was this planned?" Liam's expression closed, a familiar shield snapping into place. "No," he said quietly. "And I don't want anything from you." Her words, sharp and cruel, spilled out anyway, accusations she would regret the moment they left her mouth. Liam's composure cracked only once. "I thought you were different," he said. "But to you, everything is still a transaction." The elevator doors opened. He walked away, and she knew with a sinking certainty that she had just lost something irreplaceable. The days that followed were brutal. Damage control, legal reviews, PR strategies. Work became her refuge again, a shield against regret, until the call came. Emma's asthma attack was worse this time. Celeste was in her car before Liam finished speaking. The hospital room stripped her of every illusion she still carried. Watching Liam hold his struggling daughter, his silent tears breaking him open, Celeste finally understood what real sacrifice looked like. She stayed through the night. When dawn came, Emma stabilized, but the truth remained. The attacks were escalating. The future uncertain. "What can I do?" Celeste asked. "Nothing," Liam said gently. "Some things can't be fixed." For the first time in her life, Celeste believed it. That afternoon, she went to Liam's apartment with no plan except honesty. Emma answered the door. Inside, the chess set still sat on the table. What followed wasn't a match. It was a lesson. Emma played with joy, inventing stories for the pieces, ignoring every principle Celeste had ever learned. "Winning isn't the fun part," Emma said seriously. "The fun part is everything before it." The truth of that statement cracked something open inside Celeste. When she gave Emma the new chess set, it wasn't charity. It was connection. "I think I've been playing the wrong game," Celeste admitted. They talked, carefully at first, then freely, about fear, about pressure, about love. When Celeste confessed that the board was questioning her leadership, she surprised herself by realizing she wasn't afraid of losing her job. She was afraid of losing this. 2 months later, the chessboard sat on a patio table in the backyard of the home they now shared. The house was modest, filled with light, laughter, and the quiet promise of stability. Emma read beside them. The afternoon sun warmed the pieces. "If I make this move," Celeste said with a smile, "I might finally beat you, or I might surprise you," Liam replied. "Maybe you can both win," Emma said thoughtfully. Celeste reached for Liam's hand. "I think she's right," she said softly. "I think we already did." The chess pieces were forgotten as laughter filled the yard. The real victory had never been on the board. It was in the choice they made every day. To see each other, to stay, to build something meaningful one move at a time.